Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here with Ivan Ankwatsa. And yes, he's from Pryde Physical Therapy, Adaptive Training. He's the CEO and clearly knows a lot about Pryde Athletics. And he's going to help us today with that, with his physical therapy, with his training and all the above. So let's welcome back today. How you doing, Ivan?
I am doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
So this is Ivan Ankwatsa from Pryde Athletics and Physical Therapy. I'm excited to be here. Just really wanted to build on the continuum as we did last couple of sessions, but today just kind of take a different twist and really look at how it helps just the average person, young kids specifically, to look into a life of wellness and kind of just set themselves up and create a foundation where they're excited about it, where they're motivated, and just are willing to embrace it without any anxiety. So that's me, and it's my passion, and I'm just excited to tell you about it today.
Great. And how can we reach out to you? Let's start off with getting your website, contact information, and we're going to learn more, obviously. And by the way, I just got your notes. They sent them.
Yes. So yeah, we are Pryde Athletics.
Yep.
Our website is prydeathletics.com. Or if you want to reach the physical therapy site, it's prydept.com.
Great.
We have an amazing Instagram account that you can just Google or Instagram Pryde Athletics. You can check us out on Google, or you can even call us at 734-895-1901. We're located here in Canton, Michigan. And and we're excited to be here and help.
Great. So youth sports development is the area of focus for today, and kind of how to motivate our youngins out there to really get involved in overall health and well-being. So What does youth health and wellness mean to you?
It's the future. And when we create young people, we think about all the other things in society that are taking away from, their development. It's taken away from their confidence, taken away from their realization of who they are potentially. But this is the future, and how we can create goals of health and wellness to be simple, attainable, realistic, and we really create a good and solid, healthy population, really from the ground up. Kids learn so much, and they just soak it in at such a young age. So why not really invest in wellness? I'm actually doing it with my own 6-year-old son. We've got these charts, and he's learning the food pyramids, how much water to drink, how many carbs to eat, how many vegetables a day to eat. And he's really excited about, working out now, and he's only 6.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Start them young. No, seriously, right? Because that's how they're going to know and learn. And you mentioned the word food pyramid. Yeah. I remember the basics from elementary school, and that's like 30 something years ago. So that was so different back then. It was, but right, hasn't it changed? Has it changed a lot?
The general gist of it, no. You still want, your vegetables to be the largest piece. You want I think it's grains, and then you get dairies rather, and then we have on our pyramid junk food with a big at the top. Right now it says only once a week. Wow. My son just learned that burgers aren't healthy, even though they come from McDonald's. We can make healthy burgers at home with, different things on top of them. But no, it really hasn't changed. And I think it's just awesome that schools are focusing on that. Even when you're looking at lunches that are being made, they're going towards healthy options in the school lunch lines as well. So that's very encouraging.
Good to know. I love to hear that because I have a 5 and 7-year-old, and
nice.
He eats a lot of junk and doesn't really eat much. I'm thinking now visually, if I put something up, he can start to learn and see. I think that would be so beneficial because he only likes McDonald's chicken nuggets. He likes pizza, pasta. That's it. So Applebee's, so fried, no vegetables, no fruits. He drinks milk. That's where he gets his protein. So I need some help with this.
Yeah, believe it or not, we were in the same, even in my industry, we were in the same boat where, kids go to school and they got other influences. And it was really hard to get him to start looking at vegetables as something that's a good option. So we started with the tahini seasoning, just sprinkling a little bit on, just getting a good flavor to it. And he started nibbling on some things. And then, and this is where I think just exposure matters. You know, for my
Mm.
son, it was going to the gym and seeing other people that he seems as fit
Working
and
out
healthy. Yeah.
and get it from there.
And
Good.
yep, and the wheels start turning. So
Good. And just goes back to what we were saying before. You were mentioning about being attainable. What exactly do you imply when you're talking about attainable?
well, I think, the one thing we have to look at when we look at our youth is, they're at a disadvantage. Everything in society, the media, and really when I mean media, I mean, magazines, Men's Health. You see this really chiseled, man of a man, and as a young boy, I want to be like that one day, but
Yeah.
that's not realistic based on just genetics, structure,
Mhm.
and, to look like that, you have to eat a lot.
Huh.
And it just, it might not be feasible, even economically. I mean, that food costs, and
Mhm.
in that sense, economically, you might have a kid who wants to attain that, but, there's, food sensitivities as far as economics are concerned. So we have to look
Mhm.
into that. But even on the social medias, we have these filters now. I mean, I could put on a picture of myself and create some abs,
Oh my
and put it
God, I
out to
could
the
look
world.
so good.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No wrinkles. It's like,
No,
wow.
no, but that's not who I am really. And
Hmm.
even though that's the image out there I'm portraying, deep down inside, there's a
Yeah.
sense of deflated worth to some capacity. Television, so the goal of it, or the reality, and rather, is that our kids are inundated with so much media, that tells them that they're not good enough. So I think in
Hmm.
an education perspective, if we can create atmospheres, if it's a local gym, if it's a local rec and ed, the school systems,
Oh yeah.
parents, and just teach your kids about just attainable, simple goals. Hey, if you could run a mile, you're not in a time space, but if you can just run a mile,
Hmm.
you're healthy. Going out
Yeah.
walking 30 minutes, you're healthy. And creating just healthy images for them to see that are not on the extreme, because even in those extreme circumstances, people aren't doing it the right way in some spaces. A lot of men utilize just different steroids and different things
Yep.
like that to get those muscle bound statures. So, but yeah, we have a lot of things for young people to sift through, but creating attainable, simple health goals that make it fun, get them engaged, and then interested in a long-term perspective of lifetime health.
Good, which is super important to everyone. So also let's bring up the fact it's time to, get people inspired, young people. And how do we do that and kind of set up realistic goals for themselves? You mentioned education,
Mhm.
mentorship, and support.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of, those are our three pillars of youth wellness. Is the education piece. You really have to educate them and give them a good a good perspective of what physical health is. So in schools, traditionally, we have two models of physical education. The first model is traditional, and the second model is the lifetime wellness. Now, the traditional model was created along, hey, we're going to teach these kids dodgeball. We're going to teach these kids floor hockey.
Hmm.
We're going to go and have a soccer week, a track week. But what that creates is all the athletic kids want to go do all these things, and all
Yep.
the kids are on the fence, maybe not as athletic. They feel left out.
Hmm.
So as time has progressed, we've found that creating a model of physical education that's more geared towards lifetime wellness makes it more inclusive for everyone, because everyone to some capacity
Has.
wants to become healthy for the long haul. So that's the education piece. The mentorship aspect of it all is just be the example. Like even me, myself, with my kids, if you're a mentor, an educator, just be the example and practice what you preach. To some capacity, kids are going to learn more from our examples than they do
Absolutely.
what we
Absolutely.
say. Yeah. So if I'm telling my kid not to eat fries and I'm wolfing down fries on the way to
Hello.
practice,
Hello.
they get the reinforcement that, you know what, I want to be just like that, you
That's
know?
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the key to the puzzle is just really the mentorship, and modeling what you teach and behavior. And I think we look at food as it's a choice of this, but really it's a behavior that we have to instill. And then with the mentorship piece as well, is be vulnerable.
Yep.
A lot of times we're not sharing our struggles, like my son understands that, man, dad's in a week, and my daughter too, because she asked for it. Like it's dad's eating chocolate again, or dad's eating ice cream
Yep.
again. But we share in our struggles, and then we can start to peel back the vulnerability and say, hey, you're human. That was a bad week. Let's regroup and move along next time, especially with the young people that are having like weight issues and insecurity issues, to help them see someone who they might view as a mentor who's in significantly, we call ideal shape. Just letting them know that you two have your struggles humanizes you so that they can then go, you know what, maybe I can then, if he's having struggles, it's okay to have these struggles, and people don't feel less than because they feel that, they're comparing, your model behavior of what they see versus your true self and what you struggle with.
Yep. Well, let me ask you this also, because you say lead by example, mentorship.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a great dad like you to look up to.
Thank you.
And then you go out to this social media and you see some kids, and maybe it's not the best mentorship because a lot of it is fake. A lot of it is, is there, how can you as a whole and your company start helping the youth? I mean, do you also do like workshops and classes with youth as well?
Yeah. So, and that's kind of like a good part of our continuum is we take the continuum of care. Previously we've talked about injury and how that pertains to, to people coming off of physical therapy in the medical system and all that stuff. But, with the continuum of care, a young kid comes in and we place them into a performance track, a health track, a wellness track, a kid. So, we do classes for speed and agility, we do movement patterning, we teach coordination. And all these things are just base fundamentals to help kids understand movement, understand how to squat, how to lunge, correct posture.
Yep.
And when you do this, we also say, hey, man, when you're at home, stop going like this and running around all day with your phone. It's bad for your back. It's bad for your breathing.
Yeah.
Creating awesome games, I think in our space, in our speed and agility portions, it's not necessarily based on athletics, which, there are those that are geared towards athletics and collegiate athletes. They want to play in college one day, but it's inclusive in the fact that the continuum says meet people where they're at, right? So you have kids that are looking to move better. We have these cool blaze pod lights, and we do reaction drills. A light runs or hits and you run over and hit it, and the next one lights up and you run over there and hit it. And it's fun and engaging, and anyone can do it based on whatever goals they have personally for them. And in that fun, we grow them and we motivate them, and they get a little competitive, they get more confident. So yeah, we have classes for all kids. And the goal is for, the continual health and education of them.
Perfect. You mentioned creating supporting documents for healthy habits, share educational resources, gauging to see if emotional support is needed. And what would you say, how's the difference between the traditional model of physical education, in a sense, and lifetime wellness, creating, two different types of adults? Because you get that, the regular model in school with physical education and classes, but it's a little different. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and the one thing that we, and I'll say this too, now, so we recently were accredited by CARF International, which is a global actually accreditation process that we went through as a physical therapy clinic, and also rubs over into the facility as wellness. And in the CARF model, the goal is to always create resources. So when we have support for young people, I may not be the result that you need. And sometimes even with the physical wellness piece of it, you might need someone to speak to about, weight and weight sensitivity issues, food insecurities. Some kids are going through, bulimia and different eating disorders. So when we start seeing some of these issues or get wind of these issues, we then have a list of support documents of professionals in our community that we're working with to give these kids, then the help that they need. So it's not always about fitness, running around and agility, lights and drills and things like that. The support system created and having the resources available to help young people in any issues that they have. So in the support documents, like we mentioned about the food pyramid charts, we also have stickers that we can pass out to kids as they come in. Hey, what vitamins do I want? You know what? Hey, take the sticker and slap it on your fridge. So when you wake up in the morning, you go, hey, I'm not even close. I had Cheerios with a waffle with zero protein, right? You start getting through and educating them. And it's as simple as a little sticker that they can stick on a fridge, a vision board. And as the traditional model, and you mentioned or asked about creating different adults, in the traditional model, when you have kids that, let's take dodgeball for an example. We're going to play dodgeball. And some kids like, yo, I don't want to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
It becomes not inclusive, right? Because I don't want to so I don't participate because either I'm not coordinated enough, I'm not quick enough, I am not strong enough. And oh, by the way, the star running back is on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I create an adult who's more adverse to avoiding wellness or activities, where in the lifetime model, it's more inclusive. And we create people that go, hey, anyone could, learn how to, jog the mile. Anyone can learn, the tracks of the wellness as far as, health is concerned. Programming, I can learn the pillars of what it means to have a good exercise philosophy. Can we look at what is hypertrophy, what is neuromuscular facilitation, and just teaching the programming ability of how to build a wellness program so that everyone can just understand it. And then from there, people can say, well, hey, I can plug bike riding into here. I can plug running hills into here. You know what? I just want to have a fun day and just pick up and play a sport, but it's inclusive in the nature as you're educating people about the process of lifetime wellness versus, hey, let's play a sport and let the best person win. And then those that are like, I'm not good at it, I don't get it, are more adverse to not participating. So.
Good. I like that. All inclusive, more inclusivity should be the way. You're right. So could you explain specifically how Pryde Athletics really works on the mission of physical fitness, and education, of course, in young children and young adults with the services you offer?
Yeah. So our goal really is, again, to create an inclusive environment for young people. And we want to create a fun environment. We want to create an engaging environment. And I think we go back to a couple of sessions, we talked about, what does it mean to be a good physical therapist? Well, what does it mean to be a good mentor? We got to go back to that coaching mechanism again. We want to coach young people into feeling good, feeling the best about themselves, creating confidence, instilling, a sense of pride in their Pryde Athletics, a sense of pride in who they are and their capabilities. And you might not be able to do, a 50 push-ups, but you can know how to do a push-up, right? So there goes that educational piece. So in our classes is a good foundation of movement, proper form, and really looking at how effectively, efficiently people can partake in wellness. And we have a basic foundation of fundamental exercises, movements that we teach, whether it's speed and agility, whether it's the summer classes for youth fitness for kids that may be struggling with weight issues, or the in-between, kids that are not necessarily, avoiding athletics due to uncoordinating factors, or are not into that, travel, baseball, soccer, track. They just want to have something that's challenging. So we have more modalities for those kids as well to get involved. And then a cool thing that we've done also is partner with local rec and ed organizations, local baseball organizations, local soccer organizations. And even in those organizations, there's different tiers of skill levels and abilities, but then we support them in being the preferred exercise partner or the preferred speed and agility partner, and then go back to our education, mentorship, and support pillars as we promote just wellness overall by the partnerships in the schools and the organizations for youth.
Great. And can I just ask, we have new listeners all the time, just a little bit about yourself, what brought you into this field? I think it's important for everyone to know that as well.
Yeah. So it's unique, actually. So with, last couple of times we talked about the health and wellness piece and the physical therapy piece, but with education and wellness for youth athletics, I really started coaching right out of high school. I graduated high school, my brother's soccer team needed an assistant coach, and I was privileged to get brought into it, but I really fell in love with coaching soccer at first. And the cool thing I learned about coaching is, just, being a leader. When I was playing as a high school student, I was not the best athlete, but, but I learned that, I can be a decent enough athlete. And I really fell in love with how I was coached and the mentors that I had. So I had a passion for coaching young people. So I started coaching literally right out of high school at 19, and then kept on just developing into basketball. And I was assistant coach for on a volleyball team. But then my modalities and passions moved towards just the sports themselves. And I got really curious into movement training. And the goal there was like, I might not be the best volleyball coach, the best soccer coach, the best basketball coach, but if I can understand how movement works, I can coach all the sports and help kids in how they move in specific sports. And that goes back into my education. So I went to Eastern Michigan and majored in exercise physiology. And then in my master's, I did exercise science master's, and my minor was, and thesis, it was in preventing ACL injuries. And on that spectrum, it's based on, okay, when kids are moving fast, how do we prevent injury to the athletic population? So, yeah.
Good. Thank you so much. All right. And let's also talk a little bit about, let's say, the inclusive part of fitness and wellness. And what other ways can you say fitness can be really exclusive? And what can we do about helping underserved populations out there as well?
Well, so there, with fitness, we talk about underserved populations in the sense of, able-bodied people that just, prefer not to. I don't want to say don't want to, participate, but prefer not to participate based on, injury risk factors or lack of coordination. But the one part that we're really missing in the whole scheme of things is people that are born with disabilities, people that are injured in traumatic injuries, and more so as their children. And how do you help those people, still partake in exercises and just live a better life, because they too need to get their blood circulated. They too need a foundation of health and wellness. They too need to understand more so, how is it possible for me? You take a person who had a spinal cord injury, maybe it's an incomplete lesion, they still have some movement, and they want to utilize their limitations to the best of their ability to still work out, to still find value physically in what they do day to day. But then on the other aspect of things, if it's a young person, as they grow up, can we help them also gain more strength, gain more core value, stability-wise, to help them take care or take part in some of their day-to-day cares? And that's a huge piece that we're missing, even in high school sports and physical education, is what do you do for the kids that are in the wheelchairs? How do you help them understand lifetime wellness? And a lot of the schooling systems are kind of behind in that space.
Yeah.
And with our company, we've actually have relationships with the University of Michigan here, and they have an adaptive sports and wellness program. And they promote it in the communities. They invest in schools, in wheelchairs for the kids in the different communities, to kind of create this, as the kids that are running, with the traditional sense of physical fitness, we're looking at an adaptive sports sense where you're now promoting, regardless of your physical abilities, health and wellness lifelong for just anyone. And that's a passion that we have here as well.
Good. Well, we love it. We love it. And to sum things up, we still have a few, 2 minutes left. What else do you want to share about you, your company, and how we can reach out to you specifically?
So just really, Pryde Athletics and Physical Therapy, we're a very unique place. It's not, just a cookie cutter facility. We've really tried to think of all things wellness for all populations, regardless of your limitations, regardless of your age, regardless of starting point, where, and really regardless of your goals. If it's, you're working on weight loss, or you're working on recovering from a traumatic injury, our goal is to really create solutions for you, for your wellness, for your goals. And we want to see everyone succeed. So it's a very unique space. And we always call it the one-stop shop in a sense.
We like that.
Yeah. And there is no limitation to our willingness to help anyone, regardless of where you're coming from or where you're starting. So, but yeah, you can reach us at the website, prydeathletics.com, on Google, on Instagram. You can call us at 895-1901. And, check out our Instagram. So many crazy things to see. They're encouraging. And we're just happy to be here. And thank you.
And it's Pryde, physical therapy.
Pryde, correct.
Perfect. Well, Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it, Ivan. Always a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you. It
I
starts with the
appreciate
youth.
you.
Let's let's get going. And you instilled in my head too what I need to do for my children. It's important for all children out there. And the earlier the better to get them started. You're right. Thank you for reminding me on that. I'm gonna let you know how I'm doing my food chart next week. I'm gonna actually print one up and put it on the fridge and start basic from now. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll let you know how it goes.
All right. Hey, and happy March Madness.
Oh, yes, right. Happy March Madness. Good. Yay.
Yes, do your brackets, people.
I know I have to. Goodbye, honey. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.